Alright, for this video guys, we have a Turner Motorsports skid plate for the G20. They say it does not affect whether you have the ZTK package for the oil cooler on the bottom or not. It's exactly why I have this, is because I do have the oil cooler and I have busted two now. So, I've had enough. I got a full skid plate. Everything is, all the instructions are on here, but this is what it will look like. So it covers the whole front, the sides, and even replaces the plastic one back by the oil pan and the drain plug. So I'll take you guys through this. They include all the hardware that you'll need, except they give you the two Rivnuts, but no tool or gun. Luckily I have one. The only problem is, as you can see how long this thing is, up on ramps there's nowhere near enough room, so I may have to jack the car up to get it high enough to get that in there, but we'll cross that when we get there. So all the hardware, you can see it includes a bunch of new BMW bolts for underneath the car, all OEM new. Went ahead and unwrapped all of those, and that are these guys. So all the hardware is included, shouldn't be too bad. Extra protection is going to be awesome, and let's get to it. Under the car, these are actually the same one that will hold your front lip on. 1, 2, 3. These are 10mm bolts. Fender well on both sides. You have 1, 2, and then 3 for that side piece. And then once we get those off on both sides, then on this back piece here, we will remove all the 10mm all the way across. So we'll go ahead and knock those out. It includes all brand new screws to replace those. So let's go ahead and get this removed. Keep up with them even though we're getting new ones. Get those 3 in the fender here with this guy. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process on the other side here. Alright, we'll crawl up under here and get started on this whole back shield. So, taking this off, we can see the thing that hit and busted my oil cooler. Busted and broke this plastic too, which was just brand new from when we had the whole front bumper replaced. So, this is why we were doing that, to protect this guy who was $800 in parts alone. I would have fixed it myself, but it happened about 3 hours away from home on a work job. So, that sucked. Don't want to do that again. So, here we are. So just follow the shields, get all the tins. So these top plastic pieces look like they need to come out as well. I'll show you that when I get these off. It actually goes through one of the brackets for the oil cooler. Obviously when you're under here, be careful to try not to hit a tool or hit your oil cooler. As I said, it is $800. Alright, take him out. Just kind of wiggles, it comes right off. Rock collector, set them aside. And then we got one on each corner now that we can get to. And shield will start to fall down in your face. Go ahead and get him out. That is cool. It's very, very thin, but that does protect the steering rack. So, I'm not sure if that stays or goes. I think that would go since he's kind of curved down. So, we'll find out. Continue to slide back here to the back. Lots of screws here. Alright, I'll get him out the way as well. Alright, that should be everything we're removing because it should bolt back up to the plastic one that goes down the car. So here's the whole oil pan. So yeah, give it some pretty good extra protection under here, but main focus is the oil cooler. Alright. Alright, so you can see the little side corner pieces come off. This is all the way back where your oil drain plug access is, which this keeps. So you still have that, and then there's your other piece. So I'll get all these bolts cleaned up. We'll see what our next step is, and then I'll get these prepped and kind of slid under the car. All right, so the hardest part of this install is this next step. So under here, we have these two threaded inserts pretty much for the shield. And, well, these are where, let me get up under here. So, right here is where those new Rivnuts go. So you have one or two options. They say you can trim around this to give room for the flange of the Rivnut, or you can completely break this off, as they say it's most likely not going to be reusable because they break so easily anyways. So there's one there, and then of course one on this side as well. So I'll see how easy they are to cut with a razor blade like they say, and I'll just take some material around it so we can keep that in place. And then if not, worst case scenario, we'll just break it off completely. So at least this is much closer to the front of the car than I thought. I originally thought the Rivnuts were going to be further back, so we should be able to jack the car up easily to have enough room to get the big Rivnut tool in to get this done. Alright guys, you can see what I did there. Just notched it out like that on both sides, just so the flange of the Rivnut would fit. So you can see that it doesn't hit the plastic. So that's what that is for. So you have to drill out that hole on both sides with a 1764 drill bit, it says, or a 13.5 millimeter to get the size of Rivnut. So now we gotta hope I got enough room to get in here with my Rivnut tool. If not, we'll have to jack the car up a little bit somewhere on the subframe to get high enough for the tool. So let's go ahead and get these Rivnuts inserted and installed, and we can continue with throwing the shield on. Alright guys, got the car jacked up enough to have plenty of room for the Rivnut tool. So if you're unfamiliar, you either have to buy or rent one of these, get the right size, open the handles all the way up, thread him all the way down to the very bottom of the tool with the grip open. Then need to lay it under here. Insert him pushing up. Instructions say pull 2 to 3 times to get him to cramp, so get him nice flush and even. And see if I can cramp this laying down at this angle. Two and three. And then we can open, unthread. And boom, it is installed. So we'll repeat the process on the other side. Again, make sure you just test fit your rivet like I showed you earlier to make sure you trimmed enough of that plastic piece off. So Rivnuts loaded. Alright, now we can unthread. Alright, unthread this, I'll get the jack out of the way, and then we'll start throwing the shield on. Alright guys, next we're going to start with the rear section of the skid plate. This is going to be where the oil access drain plug hole is. You'll need two of the thicker ones. These are the, I think they call the M8 by 20, so it's going to be your bigger, thicker ones. You need two of those. It's going to be a 4mm Allen. That's going to actually go into the two Rivnuts that we did, and then 19 of the new OE bolts that are provided, which are now 8mm. So I'm going to slide this in there. Hopefully you guys can see plenty from this angle. So we're going to slide this up in there. We start with the two big bolts in the front loosely, and then we'll do all the other ones, and then go and hand snug them. So yeah, so it's going to be the two bigger ones, and they're going to go into the Rivnuts that we just created. So if you're doing it by yourself, it may be a good idea to kind of have a box or something in the back to raise it up to kind of help give you a hand. So I'm going to do that. Put the trash can down here. Just to help give us a hand, that way we can, this will be a little flatter up here to start these bolts. Will be a little fun by yourself in the driveway, but you could also even use a jack from the side of the car, which if I can't get him started, I may do. Looks like it's plenty to get him started. Do the one on this side. This is just loosely to hold it in place, and then we'll do the 19 OE provided screws. Alright, so that should be enough to hold that. Now we can get all of our new screws, which we have here, and start working our way around. So we'll go to the back and kick him out the way, and then slide them around and just start loosely lining them up. That is everybody. The cool thing too is all of these are machined in and recessed, so they're not gonna be sticking out whatsoever once we snug them and tighten them up. So no risk of breaking those off. So we'll snug all those up, go ahead and tighten them down, and then tighten these top two, it says, and then we'll move on to the two side pieces, and then the middle piece that will cover the actual cooler. So it's a hand I'm done, and I'll be careful. We'll start with the it's not enough, so that's good. We're just going to plastic for insert, so. That's just a drop one, which I did. We'll grab some of this guy. So that's why I like to careful, but Welding. Not like there, but I have much more solid. Alright, word of advice, guys. I did go back through with just a hand ratchet and 8mm on all of these and snug them by hand. Just about all of them are still loose by the gun. So I'd say definitely do it by hand like they say. That way you can judge getting it fully snug without ripping the threads. Because you heard how it kind of sounded. But now listen. No rattles. Completely solid. So go all the way around by hand. Snug them all up. So the side pieces here are going to use 5 of the smaller 4mm Allens. The instructions are wrong. They tell you to use 3 of the big ones, which none of the Rivnuts on this piece here even fit that. So it's going to be 5 of the 4mm Allens, and you're going to reuse 1 of the OEM 10mm that we took off. And that's going to be for this corner back here. So it should sit like this, up under here. So let me get this situated and we can get these bolts started. We'll do both sides, both corners I should say, and then we go and we can do the main middle piece. So I have to finesse him up and through the bumper and under the fender liner. Find the best way to do so. There we go. So, kind of like so. Make sure those brackets drop below, and then he will sit just like that. So we'll start our. We use our OEM corner piece, our 10mm. Just got to leave him loose, and then we have 3 of the M4s on the bottom, or the Allens, and then 2 in the fenders. So let's get those started. So this is also what the front lip uses, so hopefully they're long enough to fit that, which I think so. Just still haven't put the front lip back on because I'm waiting, because I travel with my car. Obviously it's my daily, so I'm waiting to get a chance to where I can borrow the wife's car for a day, as the detail shop wants the car with the lip installed this time for them to do the PPF. So it looks like we're getting rid of 1 of these. In the fender liner you had 3 bolts, or 10mm bolts before. So it looks like this back corner is no longer going to attach to anything. So let's go ahead and get these snugged up, and then we'll move to the other side. And then we'll have these inner ones, two in the fender. Still just enough to fit without the tire being in the way. Alright, so this side's done. I'll move you to the other side. Nice and solid. Outside corner. Push it down a little bit here. It's flat. Right where you need to be. Release the millimeter. Back corner. Again, now it's full millimeter. Out. It's not bad too much. Get down. Slide the piece around. There you go. And then. Alright, the other two fender liners. Go ahead, put these up. Let's get better. Let's get more inside. Come back a little bit more. There you go. Control this. Alright, so on the bottom, start to go fender, no lights. Nice and solid. Alright, so I bought a bare sheet of aluminum, same grade as the rest of the skid plate, 5052, and I think it was 8 gauge, so same thickness and everything. And since the Turner Motorsports doesn't fit because of the cooler, we're just going to go straight from here all the way straight across to the front with some tabs to go over this into this. And our tabs are going to go here in between, and we're going to use all the factory mounting locations to match, and then decide what kind of cutouts we want to do for ventilation or anything like that. But that's how we're going to make this kit work, by creating a middle piece by ourselves. Alright, so here's the sheet I bought. It is a 24 by 36, like I said in the video, same specs, same gauge of the rest of Turner Motorsports kit. So here we are, just cutting it up to get to fit, as we of course got a little extra length and width, that way we could modify it to exactly what we need. So Turner Motorsport had the wrong description on the website saying it fit the car. The whole description states that it protects the car and the oil cooler. Well, it doesn't even fit the cars with the oil cooler, so it makes no sense. They were nice enough to refund me a little bit of money. So here we are, just making our own to work with the rest of the kit. So the back portion, the two side pieces, that still works and fits. We're just making up our own middle piece to make to the rest of the kit, because the main reason for me buying this was for the oil cooler. So we cut it up, just used the finishing wheel there, sand it all down, get nice and flat. It's my uncle helping me out here doing this, so he's welding some tabs that we made on here. So once he gets this welded up, we will get it test fitted on the car, and I'll show you guys how that looks. If I was to change anything, maybe I'd put a whole wall at the top, but you'll see once it's on the car, there's still a rubber trim to protect it and keep anything from getting on top of that between the cooler. There is plenty of room between this and the cooler, as you'll see. We're going to keep it actually fully closed off like this, so not cutting any vents or openings in it yet. This is version 1. I want to test with no ventilation because the sides are still open, as you see, so it's still going to pull and draw air out of the cooler. So I want to start with maximum protection and test to see if the cooling is affected whatsoever. So here is the finished product with the tabs welded on. It's still a little dirty because there's just soot on the welds. This was before it was cleaned. So you see flat across, I put 4 Rivnuts into the back of the Turner Motorsport plates, and then those tabs go up to the front bumper and use 4 of the OEM factory screws and locations. So you can see here, nice and flat, plenty of room between the cooler. Not hitting the cooler, still enough for airflow to come out of the cooler from the top and out of the sides. Here's the front view. If I did anything different, once I take this off, I am going to paint those tabs in the front of it black. So there it is.